Oh. Okay. Today's topic is a series of talk. This year, I have giving a series of talk under the banner Beyond Green Buildings, where basically anything beyond green building lah, as the topic implies. And today we are talking about how architects can help corporate developer. Very important, corporate, not just developer. There are many developers out there, but we are focusing on corporate because only the corporate developers, and later we'll explain a little bit why they uh, that will look into carbon footprint. If you are a very small developer with just 4 semi-Ds or you're building one factory, I don't think they will do it. So we will focus on a corporate developer to reduce the carbon footprint. So this is a topic, very dry topic. If you sleep, please don't snore, that's all. Can sleep, no problem, very dry. As I'm preparing this also, I slept. So you know how dry is this? No beautiful picture, only words, and occasionally you see one or two slides of pictures. So bear with me. If you need to go out to take a break, just go lah. The door is over there, and then come back quietly lah. I thought there's a break, but they said no. I just finished the whole thing. Oh, okay. 108 slides. I supposed to start at 10:30 and finish at 12:30, 2 hours. See lah, if half of you sleeping, then I'll make it faster lo. Okay, very dry lah, but no choice this is a very important topic, particularly in KL. A lot of developers ask these questions. A lot of architects and engineers ask this question. Particularly architects. That is where I thought. Let's compile everything and share lah. First question, where there are a lot of questions. Usually I give a gift if the sponsors are very generous, we give gift. But today, somehow no gift, no sweets, nothing. Okay, never mind. Very important question. First one. How many of you has the knowledge of green building? Very important, because if you do not have, oh, jalat already. This is this is, if you do not have SPM, then your STPM jalat lah. This is STPM If you do not know SPM, then really jalat lah. So no one raise out a hand means okay. I presume you shy only, you know lah, because there's a big fundamental between green building, which is building related, and a carbon footprint of the building. Very different. If you don't know, better ask now, because the moment I dive in, I'll dive deeper and deeper and deeper. In chapter 2, you'll be lost already. Okay, let's start. So I will make this as dummy proof as possible. Sorry, I'm not saying you guys are dummy. I'm saying that, you know, this book lah. Basically, this book, I like this book because it's summarized to a layman term that Kau Abu Ali also can understand. So this is what I try to do so that everybody can understand in the context of architects. Today topics content will be 6. I could be taking a small break, toilet break or cigarette breaks or whatever on the 4th, because by that time, most of you drown already. Level 4 all drown already. Most of you will drown already. So 4 parts, I will try to break, and then the last 2 parts. So I'll just summarize, go through. The first one, introduction, which I'm doing now. Hey, apa hal? Oh, okay. Okay, the first one, introduction, which I'm already doing. Second is why corporate developers need to reduce their carbon footprint. very important. Why? Uh, you know lah, recording. So I cannot kutuk lah. No, like it's a fact lah. A lot of developers, not all, if not required, they don't do. Fact, right? So if they don't require to declare fingerprint, they don't do lah. But there must be a reason why they need to do, right? Which I'm gonna touch on today lah. The second part is what are the legislation, what are the policies in the country that leads the nation and the construction industry to do this, which is the second part, which is all Malaysia context. So you guys very familiar. The third one is the principle of GHG protocol. GHG tahu tak? Gang Ho Guat or something like that. Gas houses, I mean, greenhouse gases. Really, if you need to stop me, please stop me. Okay. So the principle of gases at the moment, I'll just do as dummy as possible. Protocol. We talk about carbon, right? So in carbon and gases, there are two different things. Later I'll relate. There are a lot of, just like when you're in green, GBI, BI, OTTV, U value, SC value, same thing. It's just a different term or different things. Then the decarbonization strategies, I think you guys are very familiar because you are in this is related to construction. So all of you on construction, so you should able to know. But there are one or two little things that I like to share. And the last one is sustainable report. When a developer declare his carbon footprint, you just cannot suddenly declare saja, right? You cannot declare you are a green, you have a green building without a cert from GBI, Green RE, MyCrest, right? You declare must have someone check and say that boleh, right? What is that? Is this? So the whole six is basically what is the legislation, what is the body, what is the act, what is carbon, what is gases. Later I'll explain all this thing, and what are the strategy to reduce the gases, and after you reduce, what to declare to the and what to get the result. So these are the six very dummy proof. In between, there are actually a lot more, but just stick to this. Okay, first one, introduction. This one take 2 hours because I can introduce myself for 2 hours. But very quick one. Big Green Riverstone company that formed last year, merged between two companies, Big Green Associates, which do a lot of green buildings and Operation Carbon. Environmental Sustainable Embodied Carbon is these two companies. Last year, this company merged, and Green Building Big Green Associates supported by two companies, BSD, which is the ME company. We have ME engineers in our company, and architecture, I'm also here. And this company last year also formed two companies, MS Sustainable Hub and MS Sustainable Glass. We're selling green glass, green hub. At the moment, they are selling insulation. We are selling, we are selling insulation and also calcium silicate block. We have brickworks, we have cement sand block, calcium silicate plank box. Dummy answer is your ceiling board, but it's a brick. Okay, ceiling board, brick, calcium silicate, plaster board, brick. Okay, it's doing testing at the moment. Very soon will be in the market. Very good U value. Okay, the difference between other organization and us is, except BSD, I am the director of the rest. Okay, so I am director of here. Okay, except BSD, I cannot be an engineer, architect cannot be an engineer unless it's a multidiscipline, which we are not. So all these are all under one roof. If you come to our office, all this is under one roof. I'm the director. So it's not a loose collaboration. I joint venture with another glass company and joint venture with No, it's actually under one big umbrella. Um, Very general information of us. This is our team. Can skip. This is our services. You know lah, huh? GBI, Grandma, Lead, My Crest, My Hijau, Green RE. Very standard for green building lah. But beyond green building, we do others. We are the official one-click assessment tools. EBD hubs. EBD is we to help material to get their green cert to declare how much embodied energy in the material. A brick, how much embodied carbon in the brick. A glass, how much embodied carbon in the glass. So we are doing that. Partnership of accounting, financing, and certified carbon auditor. We are also qualified auditors on carbon. Just like green, we are qualified facilitator or APs to help the client to turn the building into green. We are also qualified carbon auditor to audit the building carbon. Today we talk about carbon, not green building. So it's on that part. And of course, we are registered HRDF Corp. So we are the HRDF trainer. Okay, some of our clients, this is green building, plenty of them. 17会放一些 carbon auditing, first one is very important. Petronas, our biggest client in carbon auditing. So with Petronas there, the rest are a lot more easier. Okay. The biggest company already. With that in, the rest are much easier. Okay. We are very fortunate. We won 13 national awards since 2022. This year we won 2. Any award, they haven't announced, but our project, my house was selected to represent Malaysia to go to ASEAN to compete with the rest. So, thank you. I only shown my house one time it's my house. It's my house lah. Anyway, representing Malaysia, and Malaysia Energy Award is we have a policy that we do not pay for awards. So all this, the winner is 60,000. The runners-ups are 15,000. And we've been winning that much, that much has been collected from the government. The government actually pay for winning, for reducing the carbon footprint of the country. Malaysia Green Building Award, some award. This year, this one just baru saja. Belon won the award. Saw your WhatsApp to everybody. They won the most green building awards, right? On the same platform, we also won the highest carbon reduction impact award. But our social media sucks. We did not publish anything. But doesn't matter. It's just a different route. Different route. We won the, very important, highest carbon reduction impact, which means that the projects that we do save more energy. That's all. They have more. Thank you. You can skip that the next time. No, not important. Okay. Just recent, I think 2 weeks ago, we have 7 international awards, ASEAN Energy Awards. These are the winners, 4-time winners, 2-time runners-up. This is the most important, World Green Building Council winner in 2024. This one is Asia. Our competitor are Japanese, Korean, Chinese, Taiwan, India, Hong Kong, Singapore, real Asia. In the final round, we actually, different rounds, just like beauty pageant, first round, semi-final, final. The final ones are from Hong Kong and India. 3 of us, and we beat them. That's why we are the winner. So far in Malaysia, there are only 3 winners over the last decade. Only 3 winners. So we are one of them. Um, okay, enough of selling, enough of introduction. Why corporate developers need to reduce carbon footprint? Before we go into that, construction industry, this one slides many times already. Last year also I showed the same slides. Generate 40% of the CO2 emissions and responsible for 7% of the global energy. That's very important. So building operation and the building material construction, these two, 40%. 40% of the carbon come from the construction industry, very close to half. We really need to do something. If not, it's quite contraproductive lah. So what have we done? Very important on statistics. All the statistics sources I actually put there lah. A lot of sources. CIDB projection, we will increase 92% from 2020 to 2050. The next 30 years is an increase of GHG gases emission. Here we go, we know that we are 40%. Here we know that we wanted to reduce, but we are increasing. Something we need to do lah to actually reducing it back. So these are from CIDB. So we know what you need to do. How, later we discuss, and why developer need to do. There are 4 reasons that I can think of that why developer need to do lah. The first one is regulation compliance. 50% of the roof need PVs. 50% of the energy need to be on PVs. Regulation, they impose and then have to do. I think MPPP is leading on this, where very visionary to tie back to the statutory requirement. So it's by force, okay, by force. Number 2 is accessing to green financing. Have you ever gone into the construction or factory where the owner or the developer asks you, architects, to go for green building because of green financing? Ada tak? Oh, don't have. Haven't reached here yet. Oh, not much. It's very common in Malaysia, in KL. Because you get better rates for end financing the project. So they just need to get the prelim cert or the design cert, the AA or the DA lah, GPI. That's it. Then they can give you the loan. The loan is threefold. Cheaper for developer loan, cheaper for contractor bridging loan, and cheaper for whoever buy the house, if they're buying a house. So it's threefold. Once you get the project green, everybody benefits. So define developers, if you have development more than 4 units and you need a developer license. Housing lah, sorry, housing, because you're selling house. If you're not selling house, you only twofold lah. Yourself to get a better financing, and the contractor, the last one, no buyer, but no purchaser, but threefolds. Because of that, a lot of companies actually going for green because of that reason. We know if you are big enough, there are big tycos, big developers, big enough, they don't go to the bank, the banker goes to them. They actually goes to them with a cheaper rate already. We know. But the contractor and the purchaser will not get it. So the first part, they know. They have the bargaining power. Fact, right? I'm not good to anybody as a fact. They are big enough that the banker goes to them and give a good rate. But the second and the third, no. So if your competitor next door is not green, and you're green, and you have a loan BLR less by 0.2, there's a lot of money. Long run for the entire project, not one unit. Okay, so as I said, green financing is one of them. Hey, I'm not supposed to explain that. I'm supposed to go to detail. But never mind. Higher asset value and tenant retention and enhanced corporate reputation. I will go through one by one. First one is compliance and looming. I use the word looming. I think of a better word. I can't, so I just continue to use looming lah. Coming, carbon tax is coming. Singapore sudah ada, right? Malaysia belum, right? They I think last month just announced defer the tax. Maybe because of the war. I don't know why they defer, but the draft already ready. It's just that not gazette yet lah. Malaysia going to have the limit emission as guided by the National Energy Transition Roadmap, shifting from voluntary to mandatory. A lot of mandatory requirement from the national level to the state level to the local authority level, where these mandatory requirements, then the developer have to comply lah. Penang is one of them. TPKL is one of them. All TPKL have to be green building. And PPJ, I was told Johor also, but I cannot verify. So that is important. Of course, carbon tax is coming. A lot of developers have to get ready lah. Because you know how Malaysia tax works, right? GST goes to SST in just like that only, right? GST from 6% to 8%, just like that only, right? They don't give you 2 years buffer. Just like that. Then, so if this thing gets settled, just like that only, tax comes in. The next calendar year need to pay. You know why? Because it's their job to collect tax. Correct or not? It's not their job to announce and, okay, I collect a tax 2 years later. No, they announce, they collect already. Correct? So we need to get ready lah. If not, the moment you jalan, then susah. But a lot of developers wait and see. So the looming is the word lah, coming lah. So that one, I'll just elaborate. Just now, green financing, sudah cakap. Financial institution, Bank Negara heavily emphasis on the climate disclosure and ESG readiness. Developer measure compliance capacity, lower cost, and as well green funds. International as well. Okay, higher asset and tenant retention. If you're a green building, if you have a lower carbon footprint, you will have a better clients. We have one client that operates 30% of the building, 30%, and demanded the building owner to turn green. After turning green, that tenant increased from 30% to 17%. So they actually bought the building and name it their towers. So they are actually case that people like the green building because it's energy efficient and etc. etc. Corporate reputation, very important. LCCF. Do you know MGTC has a tool that rates cities? GBI has the township tools. Grand IE also has one. LCCF, MGTC has one, which is on diamond rating system. And surprisingly, a lot of developers go for that. Surprisingly. So if you, this one is more on carbon footprint tools assessment. So if you do that, then you will know how many diamonds you have and how much carbon reduction you have. So it's more on reputation, the CSR not CSR, reputation. So very important question. Every time you see this guy, there's a question. Out of these four, what makes the corporate developer needs to reduce the carbon emission? What do you think? A, likely at the moment, I think this is a fact A is the main factor they do. B is if I have my neighbor not green and I am greener, I have lower interest rate, then I go for B. Correct? C, if there's a demand, I'll go. If no demand, I'll just wait and see. 4, If I do A, then I come with D lah. Correct lah. I eat char kway teow, you give me kerang lah. Something like that lah. So all these are actual, they will go for it, but likely is A lah. Okay, so part 2 kau tim already, okay ah. Belum tidur lagi. Good. This one will make you sleep. Okay, so in Malaysia, there are policies that governs what need to be done. Uh, they are still friends. Oh, this one, they are still friends. The Facebook people cannot see. They launched this national energy transition roadmap. The whole idea is to reduce the carbon footprint of the nation. The whole idea is to do that, knowing that it's going up from the data from CIDB construction. So the National Energy Transition Roadmap is the strategic plan to shift economy from fossil fuel to clean and renewable energy with the ultimate goal of achieving net zero by 2050. Very ambitious. Good lah, good to be ambitious. Good. Two keyword here. Fossil fuel. Why fossil fuel only? A lot of questions today because to keep you guys awake lah. Why fossil fuel only? How about others? Why target on fossil fuel? And why 2050? Okay. Fossil fuel, our answer is in the slides. Okay. 2050 is this World Green Building Council set target 2050 that all the building has to be net zero emission. So they just follow the world standards timing lah. So consistent lah, not 10 years later, consistent. So the 2050 is consistent World Green Building Council. The fossil fuel will be answered later. All this has sources is all there lah. Okay, and NETR, National Energy Transition Roadmap, a lot of all this jargon has 6 main transition to transit the entire nation to net zero by 2050. First one, energy efficiency. Villa, because it's talk about industrial and residential area, which is our job lah. 40% of the nation carbon emission is from our industry. So this is A, the most important. Renewable energy, green mobility, kala, hydrogen, biofuel, and carbon capture. 6 things that the government wanted to jalan. We as an architect only affects ABC, 3 saja. The rest, someone else do lah. So we'll go through ABC in a slightly slower pace. Okay. A first. Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act. While NETC sets long-term vision and targets expanded renewable energy, EECA is one of the policy gazetted to regulate the efficiency consumption of and conservation in these two, large building user, large energy user, and large commercial builder. I'll go back again. It will start confused now, really. We talk about energy efficiency, right? So what governs energy efficiency in our country is this act. The act is called EECA, Energy Efficiency. Same thing lah. And Conservation Act. Okay? So it regulates. It's no longer a policy. It regulates. Okay? Regulates means red light, stop. Green light, jalan. Don't follow, penalty. Regulates. So this is an act that regulates energy efficiency in a building to help the NETR to go to net zero by 2050. This is one of the act. Carbon tax is another act that's going to push it down further. Okay, so it's one of the act. So who do they target? They target large energy user. Fair lah. You drive 10 cars or vacuum more, something like that lah. Organization with annual energy bill of 200,000 monthly. Big building lah, big buildings. Or 1 million natural gas, or large commercial building with the GFA more than 8,000. Okay, if your building is more than 8,000, then you are required under the Act. How? Before that, this Act gazetted this date, enforced this date, which is last year. A lot of our clients already received a love letter from government to ask them to comply. Okay, if they don't comply, the penalty is 20 to 300, depends what offense you have made. Imprisonment less than 2 years or both. This one a bit kanchong lah. I don't think they will do it lah. But this is under the Act. And you know, Act means if you don't do, you will kena penalty lah. So gazetted under the Act, don't do, penalty. What you need to do, I missed that slide. Okay, never mind. Okay, in general, maybe the slide is further. Okay, in general, they are targeting factory because 200,000 possible. Depends how big is a Patu Kawan, may hit 200,000 per month. Then energy bill, the GFA could be 8,000 and above. Could. Education, office building, hotel, data center, retail mall, healthcare. Basically, every commercial lah, except your shop houses, except for small corporate, the rest all kena lah. Most commercial. So residential not in yet. In this regulation, they're targeting 3. Commercial buildings, commercial and industrial, which I mentioned just now. Number 2 is residential. Residential also in the Act, not gazetted, not implemented yet. Third one is material. All the material. The last 2 is in the Act, not implement only. They haven't pushed a button only. They push a button for commercial building, which is the right thing to do lah. So for building that more than 200,000, you need to make sure you reduce your energy bill to below 200,000. How you do? Plenty of ways. One, parental is, there are categories, every single one, they have different categories. 200,000 is a blanket. So every single one is different. So we have data center is not about the money, it's about what is the energy usage and what's the reduction. For example, BEI is for office building. If your BI is more than 160, your energy bill less than 200,000, but your GFA is 8,000 and above, so you kena lah. You declare your BI. If your BI is more than 160, you need to do something. If not, you will kena the fine. If your BI is very good, 160 and lower, then no issue. Then no need to do anything. So even though your GFA is more than 8,000, you don't need to do anything. Okay, so how to declare? The government has a few things that you need to do. One of them is to have an energy manager. That energy manager could be employed under your organization or could be just a consultant. They just want one person to responsible for the declaration of the energy. Just like architect lah. You can be in-house architect or the developer, right? Or you can be independent. As long as you sign, you are responsible for the safety of the building and the occupants. Same thing. So what you need to do is to get an energy auditor registered under ESCO to calculate and declare your energy. If it's BI less than for office, BI less than 160, no need to do anything. You submit to government, clear. More than that, then they'll ask you what you need to do in order to comply. Then they will tell you, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this. Then the calculation comes in. What need to be done? Gazetted so that the building that you saw just now, all kena. It's a matter of time they receive the letters. Matter of time only. So if you have clients that have fall into that category, cepat-cepat tell them. Cepat-cepat call and start to prepare. The letter comes in, they give you 1 year to comply. Failing which penalty will comes in every year. Not satu kali ya. Every year they'll until you get. After a certain year, you still don't do, the imprisonment thing will come, they'll kick in. Law. Mandatory. Have to do. So what is our role? What is our role in ECA? Architects? Sign. Yeah, right. Everything also we sign. Now, CDM also we need to sign. Strata title we have been signing. Strata title you guys sign, right? Got paid lah. Facebook or better say yes or. Strata title you need to sign. CDM now you need to sign for the principal designer. Correct? Give to everything. Now ECA Act, very important because once the building completes, the building operation, you have your energy bill, right? The energy auditor will come in and check whether it meets the requirement. It meets, everybody happy lah. If it doesn't meet, chalat. Buildings all completed, aircon complete, OTTB 搞掂, everything settled. He comes in and said, not comply. BI 200, energy bill 300,000 a month. Wow, jalat lo. A bit too late to change anything, right? So you have to start from design again. From day one, the moment we go in, design the building for that category I mentioned just now, the 7 category, have to that in mind, have to reduce to meet this requirement. So your passive design needs to be there, which I'm going to chapter 5 later, when most of you are really asleep by then. So the technical expert group working for ECA direct report to the ministry. I represent the Malaysia Green Building Council, advising them on the passive design. What can architect do? The rest are the team. The good thing is government seldom do this. Government says that to kickstart, you guys do your audit to kickstart what you need to do to see whether your building comply. Even before I slam you the letter, there's actually a grant. The grant approved by government is 60,000 for commercial and 100,000 for industrial. I don't know why, but the pickup rate is low. People give you money to do a grant. I don't know why the pickup rate is low. Even in KL, it's low. The government says you just take a grant, only got 3 conditions. The 3 conditions are sub-soil condition. Okay, not mentioned here because I'm supposed to go carbon, but I elaborate. The first condition is you need to utilize the same money to go green. I take a grant, I don't go green for what? Correct not? So the 600,000, 100,000 must buy rainwater harvesting, PV panel, LED light. You must utilize the money for that lah, not to go yam cha lah. Okay, so first thing, senang lah. The second one is you need to declare your energy bill before and after. Fair lah. They give you a grant to upgrade your building from 200,000 to 180. They need to see a DNB bill to confirm. Correct. So if you don't do, they give you 600,000. How? 60,000. You must declare something lah. The third one, you must have, this one you spend money lah. You must have a qualified person to declare, audit, write the report, and that person has to be a qualified energy auditor. Cannot be self-declare, short sendiri. So that part involve a little bit of money lah. But the first two part, sorry lah. The third part, if you have employee who has a qualified energy auditor, it's also free. If you're a big corporation and you giant every giant kena 200,000, right? In the whole country, then you employ one guy to 搞定 everything, then the money is actually not a lot. And you take 60,000 from the government, 100,000, 60,000 commercial, 100,000 for industry to go for green. I take lah. So I urge you guys, spread this news and take the money government give, take. They collect tax from you, you take back something from them. So it's a grant. You must comply the 3 conditions. Okay, that's it on the ECA. Very brief, very chin chai, very brief. The second part and the third part, I bet a lot of you don't know. Because we are architects, we only concentrate on energy efficiency, right? Renewable, kalau ada lah, kalau tak ada lah. Okay? And green mobility, nothing to do with me. Not so. Malaysia Renewable Energy Roadmap, Renewable Energy Mix under Renewable Energy Roadmap, my RER, by 2050, 30% must be either hydro, solar, biomass, or biogas. Successfully surpassed 31% last year data. True. You Google, we surpassed that. So which means that 31% of our national energy come from either hydro, solar, biomass, and biogas. Good. So we count him. Part 1. 40% by this, 70% by this. Everything ends at 2050 because that is the ultimate datum, like our Vision 2020, which cannot comply lah. 70%. 70% of the energy must come from clean energy. Last year, with all the dams, with all the biomass, with all the solar farm, we only can get 31. Another 25 years, need 70. Penang said 50% of the roof must be solar. KL said 30% of the roof is solar. This guy, this act, 70% by 2050. Imagine your building, all your roof need to be ready for that. 70%, no joke. So get ready for all the solar will continue to come. The efficiency will continue to come. Get ready for all your roof ready to install. So it does affect us. This one, low carbon mobility blueprint, LCMB. A lot of all this jargon. No choice. Green mobility aiming for EVs and hybrid to make up 20% by 2030. Now, the last statistics check is only 8%. Another 4 years to go, and they increase the price in July. I don't know how they want to do it. 50% got different. 20% annual new vehicle. You sell new vehicle. 50% of the total industrial volume. Total, they don't not new anymore, old and new. Estimate now we have 3 million. We have 3 million cars in the country by 2040, and 80% by, which is estimate 2.4 million by 250. Not affect us. Your condo macam mana? 80% of the car on the road are EV. By that time 2050, look at it, half still around Fact half still around or very young. Will kena another 25 years. So it will affect how we design parking. It's coming. You go to China, you know the ratio, right? Almost 50%, no? You go for their tick tick, which is a Grab. You want to go for tick tick, not green car, very difficult. Every tick tick, all green color, green car, right? Because they have moved to that direction. We are moving to that direction, but is our construction industry ready? Don't talk about EV charger, nothing to do with us. That one really nothing to do with us. Our condos, are they ready? Our TMB substation, is it ready? You need one TMB station or two by that time. Okay, so take note, as we progress, as we know more information, then it will definitely affect our design. Okay, so the sixth, this guy comes in again. This will affect our building design, which we need to know because I repeat again, by the time CCC, the first energy bill come 300,000 or jalat, too late to change anything. We need to plan for it. Renewable energy, we have solar, wind, hydro, and all this stuff that we need to do. Okay, we need to get ready. Solar is just one of the options. Later, I'll show you some of the options that are already done in other countries. Green mobility, as mentioned, we need to plan for it. So, very important is we can actually buy green tariff from TNB to go green. We can. We buy green energy from TNB, which they get it from solar farm, but it's actually more expensive. It's additional. And you know, TNB now has a policy that you cannot go 100% from renewable energy. You can only do it by storage if you have a battery. If you don't have storage, you cannot go 100%. So you still need to pay. Okay. Chapter 4 already. Okay. Still okay. Want to take a break? No or jalan? Jalan. More jargon, more confusing, more gila. Just now the first two, okay lah. Government things you guys very familiar. GHG, greenhouse gases. We'll go through the calculation and overview of scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 lah. Ada video ni. Watch first, then we talk. So they're actually connected. So during this World Economic Forum 2023, the entire world ecosystem is actually connected. One melts or one forest fire, it actually triggers the entire other part of the world. The 16 titans, I call it. So it's very important. It's not, it mentions, it's not a political gimmick. It's not. It's actually real. Okay. Start from the dummy again. GHG, apa tu? Greenhouse gases. So apa tu? What do you do? What is GHG related to carbon? How does it relate to my OTTV? And how does it relate to my design? How does it relate to my EECA? What is this carbon? What is this GHG? Tahu tak? I presume you know lah. It's just shy lah. But I will go through very dummy way lah. Greenhouse. This is the simplest diagram I can get. Greenhouse effect. Some sunlight has hit the earth, some reflected. When you reflect, this is another our atmosphere, so it traps here, so it becomes heat lah. That's why our sun heat comes to earth through radiation, correct? Not conduction, not convection, radiation. That's why you go out, you feel heat lah. But this heat, some of them bounce back. Heat can bounce back, correct? And it goes to the atmosphere and it will continue to bounce. That's why it's hot. Natural phenomenon, nothing happened, nothing new. This part is new. CO2 and other gases. I thought only CO2, why got other gases? That's why it's called greenhouse gases. Got other gas, We have been talking about CO2, CO2, CO2. CO2 and other gases in our atmosphere traps the heat and keep the earth warm. Very general. The CO2 form a layer and traps the heat, so the heat cannot rebound. After it traps the heat will come back. Just like our greenhouse, design a greenhouse, the heat trap and then the heat trap inside. Okay, the more CO2 and the more other gases, the thicker is the layer, the more heat trap, the degree go up more, the 16 titans wake up. In general okay, so our job is to keep the 16 titans inside the ground, don't come out. In general okay, so this is greenhouse gases. So our job is to reduce the greenhouse gases it emits so that it don't form a thick layers, so that the heat from the sun, when it reflects, it goes back to the atmosphere without coming back to the earth, without waking up the 16 titans. So that is the main objective, reduce GHG. Okay, the general okay, global carbon budget. So someone has to calculate and someone has to tell somebody that how thin is the atmosphere and how thick is the atmosphere. How much carbon in the atmosphere. Someone had to say that, right? Okay, and this is the guy. Okay. Global carbon budget. Each year since 2005, a committee of researchers from Global Carbon Project produced a report of a global carbon quantifying CO2 EQ. Later I'll explain. There are a few things that I explain. Don't worry, it's already in slides. Emission over the year. So every year, they will report how much CO2, how thick, and how kanchong. Simple so that's their job. Important is the latest global budget, which published just a few months ago. The carbon keep warming. The 1.5 C, that is the limit before the title mix up will be gone before 2030. We have a vision of 2050, right? When I say half of us can see, right? 2030, everybody can see. The next 4 years, the Titan will wake up. As simple as that. This is what they say. Okay? And if it remains the current level, global CO2 emission of the fossil fuel come again. Why fossil fuel again? Remember, I haven't answered this question. Fossil fuel comes again, and the cement there will be an answer again, just not later. Fossil fuel in cement has increased by 1.1% in 2005, hitting a record of 38.1 billion ton of CO2. The second level, the second one not important. The first one more important is if you don't do anything, don't talk about 2050. Don't talk about our vision. 2030 koyak already. Okay, so that's what carbon budget says. I need to scare you more. 1.5 degree, 8% of the plant will gone, 6% of insect will gone, 70 to 90% of coral will gone, 14% of the carbon population will it will be exposed to severe heat 1 in 5 years, and of course at least every 100 years the sea ice summer I think no. So if you're 2 degrees, it will exponentially go up. Okay, it will 2 times worse, 3 times, 29% worse, 2.5% worse, 10 times worse. So if you continue to rise, is it 1.5? Hey, nothing happened. Titan woke up. Okay, try to. This one is really, really giant. So we really need to do something. 40% of the greenhouse gases come from our industry. Okay. Fossil fuel. So those who want to know the answer here. This is about emission and energy and emission. How carbon released to the earth, to the atmosphere? Carbon go. Cannot, right? Carbon somehow released to the atmosphere through a process, right? Okay, right? We breathe carbon, but that carbon can go out or not? Can or cannot? Very, very minor. The lances are the CO2 and O2 will just circulate here. How it goes up is these three sentences. No choice. I try to summarize. AI also helped me to summarize as long as this. So no choice. A fuel is a material like wood, coal, gas, or oil that can be burned to produce heat, light, and power. Correct lah? We burn our coal and do this. We put gasoline fuel in our car, burn natural gas on the stove, and burn wood fire campfire. It helps us to keep warm, cook our food, transport. Wow, this one can move on. Ourselves on distant location. Fossil fuel, that's where it comes from. From coal, natural gas, oil formed from dead plants, animals, and marine life, which compressed of layer sediment over millions of years. This one we know, right? Fossil fuel contain chemical energy. That energy will be released when you burn it. When we burn, we have energy. That's what we want, right? That's why we are burning our fossil fuel for our energy. When we burn the fossil fuel, the difference from relative emission, the amount in relation to the energy will produce will be burned. The fossil fuel have carbon. Once you burn the fossil fuel for our usage, car, household, whatever, the carbon will emit. The next slide will help. Coal, energy, emission. Sample. Three sentences with one diagram. This will go all the way up to our atmosphere. So the whole idea is to burn less fuel. That is why our national transition roadmap says that convert the fossil fuel to clean energy. Don't burn anymore. Don't release carbon. Okay. Be it your industry, 40%, be it transportation, be it the fuel that you mentioned, reduce that, turn into green and clean energy. So that is the whole big idea. Fossil fuel is because of this definition and this picture. Okay, so I answered one question already. I still utang you a few more. Question. Need to keep you guys awake. What is the difference between CO2 and CO2e? Just now, during the definition, we say gases, CO2 and other gases, right? CO2 means CO2. Other gases is what? That's where the equivalent comes in. There are 7 GHG gases. You get deeper and deeper. I'm diving deeper and deeper. If you really need to take a break, let me know. It's getting deeper. There are 7 types of gases. CO2 is only one of the 7. Okay? Emission, just now the backtrack so that you can remember. CO2 and other gases form a thicker atmosphere to trap the heat. There are 7 gases that are responsible for it. 7 gases that are responsible for it. These are the 7. We have been talking CO2, CO2, CO2. Actually, more than that. Why? Because these other 6 can convert into CO2 equivalent. So that we don't need to mention the 7. So the CO2 equivalent is CO2 plus 6. CO2 equivalent. Okay, so they're talking about 6. So whenever people say CO2 emits what the person says is actually CO2 equivalent because we're not talking about one gas that close the atmosphere. We're talking about this seven. Okay, as low as possible. This guy is in green. Oh. The rest are black, right? Why green? I confirm we have seen this before. If you have done green building, it's in GPI MR6. Okay, your aircon. Okay, if you don't use this, you get 1 point. Okay, so these are the things that I'll call it CO2 or equivalent. CO2 equivalent to reduce the emissions to the atmosphere. Okay, question. 2 questions. Bear with me. Bear with me. Can a single type activities produce more than one GHG? I burn fossil fuel, right? I burn things. Only CO2 or multiple gases? I burn this only methane. I use aircon only hydrofluorocarbon. Not hydrocarbon, sorry. Hydrofluorocarbon. Or when I burn the thing or I use the fuel, multiple gases can go out. Or one to one. Multiple. Okay. Okay, thank you. Does the GHG has the same emission factor ratio correspond to the amount generated as a result? 1 ton of CO2 and 1 ton of methane, same tak? 1 ton of sugar and 1 ton of garam on weight, same The calorie same tak? And the weight same 1 ton of CO2 and 1 ton of methane on the weight, if you can weight them same. The impact is not. The calorie are not. Okay? Yes, burning natural can result of burning of natural gas can CO2, and no, GHG has different global warming potential. Another jargon. When we compare garam and sugar, different calorie, the word is calorie. When we compare 2 different gases, it's called GWP, global warming potential. How much potential this gas will cause global warming? How much calorie you eat same but it's in the term global warming potential. That gas, how much impact to the world global potential? How much, in general term, how much it blocks increase the atmosphere and blocks the heat from going up. Okay? GWP, global warming potential. Further dive, all linked together, no choice. If you, no choice, you need to know OTTV, you need to know the U value, SC value, you need to. GPM, GWP, not GPM, was developed to allow the comparison of the global warming different gases. It's measured on how energy emission of 1 ton of gas will absorb over a period of time in relation to 1 ton of CO2. Okay, when I compare sugar and garam, I say which produce more calorie? We need a base, right? Correct. We need a base. Let's say the base is garam. Then we know sugar is 2 times more calorie than garam, for example. I don't know the figure. I just give you example. So you must have a base. Without a base, then what to compare? So GWP must have a base. The base is 1 ton of CO2. CO2 is still the dicol. That's why everybody, CO2, CO2, CO2. CO2 is the base. The rest of the gases are compared in relation to the CO2. The larger the GWP, the more it warms the earth compared to CO2 over a period of time. the period is usually 100 years. More calorie, more calorie used in your building lah, of your body lah, whether good or not good depends on your body lah. The more GWP, the more harmful to the atmosphere. Okay, so if your GWP is more than the CO2, then it's more harmful. Okay Next question. Belum sampai. Okay, never mind. The red color is the questions. I did this like this morning, 7 something. So very kanchiong. Yesterday, too drunk. No, no, no. I didn't drink. Joking only. Didn't drink. We have Zava to confirm I didn't drink. Okay. Global warming potential. GWP. Just now I mentioned GWP different from gases to gases, right? GWP also different from country to country. See, in Malaysia, the GWP emission factor is 0.67. Mongolia, a lot more. Laos, Indonesia, and other stuff. The better one is Singapore, 0.4 something, and Myanmar, 0.43 something. So each country has different factor of GWP when they burn their fuel to convert into their household energy, electrical bill lah. Why? Why when I burn a fuel is a fuel lah? Correct. I burn a fuel. Why I burn in Malaysia has less? Why I eat my garam in Malaysia less calorie when I eat my garam in Cambodia? Macam garam is a garam ah. I burn 1 ton of fuel. It's 1 ton of fuel lah. Why different country got different leh? Similar. The answer comes from the mix of clean energy versus the burning of the process partly is a mix. So if I use some clean energy in the process, then my carbon burning to get the energy will reduce. So it's how to mix them, mix the clean energy and the carbon fuel energy. So Myanmar and Singapore is better compared to us and Mongolia. Mongolia, I think burn a lot lah. I don't know. This is a data from that in that website. Okay, Institute of Global Environmental Strategies, which I can show. This is the list of grid emission factors through the research. Declaration. Every year we need to declare. Every country need to declare. Alternate tab, right? Okay. So different country will have a different GWP. I'll talk about the gases. The gases, CO2 is 111. Fourth elation, fifth elation, sixth elation. We look at the sixth elation. Why one? Why 1 calorie only? The rest got so much calorie. Why carbon is 1 calorie? Because it's the base. From there we know. And you see how jalat with the rest. Maintain, nitro, sulfur. A lot more compared to carbon. A lot more. You burn sulfur, hexafluoride, 24,000 times compared to carbon. The impact to the atmosphere. Okay, this is how they calculate. So, take note. When you burn something, not only carbon, the rest will also emit. There's a calculation. I quickly go through lah. Very kanjong, need to go toilet, is it? Another 10 slides. Then we take a break lah. Then we come out Take some air and we dive again later. GWP for fuel, your car, okay? It burns, it emits CO2, CH4, and N2O. Your car produces three gases, not only one. Everybody's carbon, 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 three. How they calculate? CO2 emission factor for fuel gas has a liquid phase of kg carbon per liter of 2.9. So when you pump 1,000 liter of diesel, the volume 1,000 times the emission factor of this factor, the factor that emits, okay, you get this figure. Simple lah. So there's carbon. So it's the emission factor times the volume. Very simple. Then you know what is the carbon emits, CO2 emits from fuel. CO4, CH4 is this figure. 1,000 times this one is 1,000, 0.393 of kg of CH4. Gases, right? Need to convert to carbon, right? Everything quantified in carbon equivalent. You need to change it times the AR6, the figure default. This is a default number. You change, it become carbon. From here, it become that. No need to know. The good thing about architects, the good thing is architect is, you know the CNS doing their piling, what type of piling, you know retaining wall, you know what type of aircon, you know that they don't bullshit you, you let them calculate. Let them bullshit. I can also. But usually let them do whatever they want. Then we can enhance and say, hey, this one, the structure, can it be like that? The aircon, can it be like that? We do not need to go so deep. This calculation, you need to know only. Okay? Don't need to calculate. Let the green consultant do. Okay? So what you need to know is just different gases and there are different factors. That's it. Okay? H2O, same thing, calculation. After that, kg per H2O, you convert into CO2. With that, this CO2 plus CTO2 and this CO2 all add up become CO2 equivalent. That's it. Burning 1,000 liter equal to 2,928 kg of CO2 emits to the atmosphere. Every 1,000, this is correct figure, correct figure. Every 1,000 liter, your car 40, 50 liter. So 1 month 200, 5 months 1,000 already. 1 year 2,000, agak-agak lah. 1 year you are emitting 6,000 kg if you drive one car. If your wife drive, your son drive, then you can agak-agak lah. This is only for car. So we can do the same for building and etc. etc. Then we can quantify the numbers. Then the developer will know how much is their organization emits the carbon through this calculation. Okay. Okay. As promised, I asked these two questions. Why 1 ton of CO2 is used as a base, and why is 100 years? The base, why CO2? Why garam is the base? Why not sugar is the base? Why? Why 100 years? 100 years cannot see. Most of us cannot see. Correct or not? How many of you have the luxury of 100 years? So usually cannot see. So why they measure 100 years? 1 ton because it's the most common human cause GHG. The carbon is the most common gases among all. Therefore, it's a base, as simple as that. And of course, on theory, also they are the lowest. So no problem. Okay. CO2 remains in the atmosphere for thousands of years. True or not? How old is your dinosaur? Thousands of years, right? Okay. It actually can be in the body or in the fossil or in the atmosphere for thousands of years. Whereas methane breaks down roughly 12 years. The 100 years window is an average base to prevent short-lived gases from heavily overrepresented. Short-lived overrepresented, which means a lot, the ratio to overrepresented, or long-lived gases, which is CO2, to be underestimated. Okay, millions of years, few years, so they get average 100 years. So the 100 year is the average of all the gases. And with these 100 years, they use it to see how much impact to the atmosphere. You just need to know. You just need to know. You just need to know OTTV U value lower better. OTTV lower better. That's it. That's it. Okay, as low as possible. Just like your cholesterol. Final few questions before the break. Greenhouse gases mentioned. GWP mentioned. Today's topic is carbon footprint. Nothing to do with these two. What's the relationship? What is the relationship between my garam and my calorie? I eat other things also. Correct. Today I don't eat garam, but I still have calorie. So what are the three? A lot of theory. That's why I said boring, right? The first mention. When I prepare this also, I sleep. Red color, very important. GHG is the what? What are the gases? You know already. GWP, what is the multiplier? How harmful is this gas versus the other gas? Carbon footprint is what is the totality of everything. Okay? The what? There are actual gases in the environment that trap heat and cause global warming. We know 6 gases. The base, all not GHG traps are equal. GHG converted factors measure heat specific over the CO2 over 100 years. So I have repeat this time, repeat the answer. What I wanted to show is this guy. This is a total sum of GHG emits caused by a product or an organization. That's how I hinted. A developer, in this case, a developer emits O2, right? Emits CO2 or equivalent, number 1. Okay? They emit different gases, number 2. What is the total carbon equivalent that he or the organization or the product, if it's a producer, a product, construction industry, the product or the organization has emits for that year? Okay, product could be per product. Organization is per year. Product, 1 brick, how much? You multiply by the number of bricks. Simple, right? Organization is not about that. It's about that particular year. That's why your report is a yearly report, sustainable report. Yearly, because it's measure multiple gases with different gases, a carbon footprint is converted into a single core CO2. So the total means you have to calculate everything and declare what is your total. Gases, GHG, based on the calculation of GWP and your carbon footprint. So the carbon footprint on today's topics, now already cakap, is the total of gas emits of the organization. Gases. I think no more already. Still got 1, 2, 3, 4. Still got so many. Okay, I think better stop lah. People sleeping already, zao already. Sorry. Cannot breathe. Too many CO2, right? One more slide before you go. Last one. When you declare your income tax, you need to submit form. Form what? Submitting income tax time now. Form B. When you declare something, you need to submit something, right? You cannot just happily declare, right? When the organization measure and quantify your GHG gases, The result recording is called the GSG inventory. The data is called GSG inventory. The whole report is called sustainable report. Your GHG inventory is your data. I go to the beach and clean up the beach is in your report. When you say, I clean up the beach, I save this, therefore these are the CO2 equivalent saved. That CO2 is GHG inventory, two different things. Okay, I went to clean up the beach is a sentence. That sentence is in sustainable report. Inventory is a list of gases, every single one that goes up. Whatever the report, the gist of it, the most important of it is the inventory, not the language. Not you go to the beach and clean. It's how much you clean in relation to reduce the carbon emission. That is more important, not the cleaning the beach. In simple terms, GHG inventory is like carbon auditing report. It records what gases emitted, how much emitted, where the emission come from, and what does it cover, usually 1 year. So this is what today's topic about. Redoing the break. Then after that, we'll come back on what to declare. We only talk about fuel, right? One thing, right? In total, there are 15 plus 2, 17 methods of emissions of calculation, which I'm going to go through every single one. So take a break lah. Go yum coffee. Okay, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Okay, the show is going to start very soon. The actor is already on the stage. There's no post-production, so take note. This is live theater. So let's start. Can Okay, so far so good. Okay, let's further dive in. Further. I think 12:30 lah. No choice. No choice. I wish to end early and go makan also. Okay. Just now we demonstrate one calculation from burning fuel from your car. They are 1 plus 1 plus 15, 17 ways, categories to calculate your total carbon emissions of your organization. Okay, so you can say that I'm actually this much of carbon reduction. Okay, housing developer mostly build houses. If you are not developer, corporate client, you do your HQ. Same. Okay, 1 plus 1 by 15, same. Okay, so let's start. The guide of how to calculate these 3 books, Bible. Okay, I actually has this over. How? Here, this is the corporate standards, scope 2 and scope 3. Okay, in general, these 3 books link down there. These are the guides. Total this your national land code. You sleep, right, when you read your national land code for part 3. Similar sure sleep also National land code. Okay. Scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. Heard a lot about this, right? Okay. It's all about the calculation of how much GHG release. That's all. Okay, we have gone through what is it, how, and what is it, and all that stuff. This is just calculation of the emission. Okay, the emission is, ayo, so teruk ah. Sorry to Kantam Northern Chatter. Have to manually adjust. Oh. Same ah. Oh, yeah. Emissions is the emissions that we're talking about lah. Very clear. So, sorry, GHG emission is that lah. So there are three scopes. Aku go one by one. Kenapa? Online cannot see ah? They should come now. Sorry ah. They cannot throw eggs, so okay. Cannot throw, so okay lah. Okay, scope one, direct emission from all about emission, burning, fuel burning, direct emission from the source that are owned or controlled by the organization. Things that controlled by me. If I have a biogas, then a burning biogas, burn whatever you burn that you own. Example, on-site electricity generation, cooling, and own vehicle. My own vehicle, I pump petrol, I burn fuel, right? Under scope one. Scope two, that indirect emission from the source of control by organization, TNB. Okay. In Selangor is I Selangor lah. Here is called what? PPA. PPA. Waste. Same Okay. WK same. No, waste, not WK. Aramfora. Here. Pebandaran. Organization, I should put an S there lah. Example, emission from a source of generate electricity, water purchased from service provider lah. Okay, I will elaborate this, don't worry. Scope 3, all other indirect emissions occur in the organization chain. All employee, for example, employee travel, commuting, emission associated with solid waste disposal, upstream fuel, and extraction. Basically, anything that emits carbon, need to calculate. It's either in scope 1, scope 2, or scope 3 any, because it's different. Why is different? Because they have different ways of defining them in different ways. 1, 2, 3, which one more important? Which one release more gas? 3 release more gas. Yeah. 40 to 70% actually from here. Okay. But mandatory requirement as per now is only scope 1, scope 2 declaration for corporate client. So they are not targeting the big chunk. Okay. I will go through the emission of carbon 1, 2, and 3 and mandatory and the percentage later. Okay. Let's go through concept. What is 1, what is 2, what is 3 first. This one you go to YouTube, they will tell you in 5 minutes. But I will take longer. Okay, scope 1 is your own facilities and your own vehicle, scope 1. Scope 2, it purchase electricity, steam, no steam. This is from Environmental Protection Agency, US. So they have steam. Heating tara, cooling and use. This is from TNB and others, etc. So scope 3 have 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Upstream and downstream. River, upstream and downstream. You pee, downstream people kena. Upstream don't kena. Got difference, Here also got difference. Up and down got difference. Okay, I'll elaborate later. So there are all these, and unfortunately, we have to go through all this so that you know, very surface. Upstreams are activities refers to the sourcing, construction industry. I always go back to the construction industry. So that is relevant. Eh, apa hal? Hilang already, the hijau. Never mind lah. Just read lah. Hijau hilang already. You see whether you can fix. Sourcing, extraction, initial processing of raw materials, building materials. Your construction, before you construct, you need to buy things to construct, right? Whatever before that, upstream, simple, buy material and whatever before lah. Downstream, sudah boleh, thank you. Activity refer to manufacture specialized product, on-site assembly and final delivery. Whatever special, whatever you do in your building, if you are main con, if you have any special products that only can do on site, whatever do on site until you delivery, that is called the downstream. Basically, one is pre-contract, one is during contract and post-contract. That's a cut-off. Very simple. If you're industry, then easy. So category 3, 8 upstream and 7 downstream. Let's skip this. These are definition. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 definition. I have a very specific one for construction. Let's zoom into that. These are just definition. Okay. What are the scope 1, 2, 3 for developers? This is the answer. Oh, sorry. This question is supposed to be up there. There's the problem when you do slide at 7 o'clock. Everything jumbled up. Not drunk. Coffee only. In construction industry, scope 3 emission represent the largest share. Oh, not 40 to 70. 70 to 90 of the emission. Scope 3 is the most kanchong one. Okay? Because scope 1 is your own vehicle. Okay? Developer do not have a lot of vehicles. Go to site, they have contractor has more vehicles. Developer has less. So the contractors scope 1 a lot. Developer scope 1, the car could be the MD, big bosses. Okay, so it's lesser. Scope 2, you buy from DNB if you have a HQ. Okay, the site electricity is by the contractor, is scope 3, not scope 2. So your scope 2 is your HQ, electricity, water, and waste. Limited. Scope 3 is all others. When you buy the material until you hand VP, all scope 3. Of course, it's 70 to 90%. No? Okay. Construction industry. Category 1 to 8, upstream. Need to sit down, this one. First one, purchase goods and services. Purchase goods, services. How many of you receive a letter from your developer who is declaring their carbon emission and asking you to comply and declare your carbon? Ada tak? Belum sampai Belum sampai sini It will sooner or later. Created to get emission of the material, the structure. Take out sorry Material, embodied material for manufacturing concrete, steel, timber, glass, insulation. This is just example. All material produced have carbon or even gas emits. We need to get that figure from the supplier. So the supplier will get a letter from the developer. I am declaring my GHG. I need to declare my scope 3. I need to know what is your carbon emissions, carbon equivalent. Whenever I say carbon is carbon equivalent. Emissions of the bricks that you produce, 1 biji times the number of biji. Okay, already a lot to do. You have so many products. Already a lot to do. First sentence already kill you. Goods and services. Some are providing services, not goods. Consultants. Okay. If you have some area where you emit CO2, you also need to declare. Simplify enough. Number two, capital goods. Extraction and manufacture of long-term assets that you buy, your crane, extract site, capital goods. Those bosses here, you know lah, what is your capital good of your computer, your office, your assets. This is your laptop, your plotter. If you have a car, your car, correct? These assets, these capital goods has also carbon emissions, not the fuel. If you own these vehicles, if these vehicles use energy to function, burn fuel, that fuel is under category 1. This is not about the fuel. This is about the goods. This is the computer, not the TMB electricity that generate your computer. Okay, as slow as possible, as dummy as possible already. So we're talking about the goods, not the source that generates the good, the usage of the goods. Fuel and related energy, upstream extraction of transport, example, transmission loss on the grid of power to your office, or emissions from refining diesel using a rental genset during construction. If your developer has this, if you don't have, if everything contractor. So diesel to your genset is diesel, right? Doesn't come from TNB. That diesel is not owned. It's actually used for your energy related activities, construction. Okay, so it's not your car, it's not your car petrol, it's actually used for construction, the diesel. Then is this upstream transportation and distribution, logistic of incoming material, for example, emission of third-party logistics truck, the cement to this. We know the carbon emission of the bricks, but the bricks come from Johor versus the brick come from Sabang Playa. What different? No? Correct? Because of the transportation. So let's recap. The first one is about the product carbon emission. Okay. We haven't touched how they do it. We just talk about carbon of the product. We haven't touched how they do it. The second one is your capital goods. The third one is whatever your capital goods, some of them needs to operate to construct. Okay. If that product, be it a genset, be it a motorized chainsaw that requires diesel, whatever, that is under number 3. And the fourth one is the transport of your material to the site, whichever the site is. Okay? Every single one need to calculate a lot of things to calculate. Do you know how long consultants calculate scope 3 for one project? One project, one tower. Do you know? Agak-agak. You pay them architect fees, I know lah. Green consultant fees also I know lah. You pay them so little, but this one calculation, IJM took us 1 year to calculate every single thing. This one don't have, this one don't have. And how you calculate? You need to meet people, you need to audit how many cars, you need to check the petrol bill, whatever thing you need to check, right? You cannot just sign, saya mengakui bahawa, wah, correct? But tipu cannot lah. 1 year. 1 year. No joke. For one project, easier lah. Maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months. For the entire organization, 1 year. Agak-agak lah. So if you want to declare 2026 by end of the year, 2025 December, you need to pass the document to us slowly already. Otherwise, mati. 1 year. So how much you pay green consultant? 1 year job or no job. Okay. 5, waste generated in operation. This one we know. All the waste in operation. Okay. This is very important. This is upstream, pre-tender, pre-construction. Downstream any construction, right? Belum. Where got waste generation? Don't have, right? Belum construct. Treatment and disposal of site waste, right? Mana ada? Okay. If you have landfill, recycling, incineration of before construction, whatever activities is considered pre-construction. So ada. Okay. Excessive drywall, you produce a drywall, you cut. That cut. You know how window door comes in, right? 3x8, 3x6. I suka one 7.5. You know how they do? They put an 8 and cut lah. Correct or not? So the carbon footprint is 7.5 or 8? 8 lah. But the carbon footprint is actually 7.5 for scope 3, number 1. The another half is here, lor. Combined is 8 feet, lor. So that is how they see, because when they audit, you put a 8 feet plywood to do a door, but your door is 7.5 feet. Where does the 1.5 feet go? Cannot be like carbon salah. The another feet goes to here. Okay, concrete washout, packing material, when you pack. IBS helps. IBS helps. But I didn't include IBS here. It's one of the cabang to help. Today is more on overview. Architects benefit. We just need to know the overview. Someone will do the job. Correct or not? Correct, right? We generated now. Business travel. Business travel is inclusive. Carbon emission. Employee commuting, whether they take bus or they drive. Okay. Assets, upstream leads asset. Public transport, less carbon. First class, less carbon. Public transport. Okay lah. Okay, upstream leads assets is item that you lease for short term. External off-site warehouse spaces to store your workers. Let's say you are a contractor, you are a developer and contractor, or developers, and then your project is in Johor. You need to send people to Johor to rent for 3 years under here. Lease asset, not your assets, but you lease from it. But when you lease on it, you have carbon emission that also want to calculate. So this is pre-construction. This is during construction and post-construction. Downstream transportation distribution, same. Just now is before, this is after. More product in final user and etc. Processing of sold product. This sold product is generic term. As I said, there are scope 1, 2, 3 are all generic terms. The gray color one is the one that's for construction. Further transformation of product, rarely applicable, but occurs on site through selling raw aggregates, immediately material that third party process it. Basically, if you have aggregates that crush from the used concrete, it's under waste, right? But the waste you sold to other people, so you can actually offset some. So you need to calculate. Use of sold product, operate footprint of complete asset, lifetime electricity, gas, whatever gas consumption and electricity consumption, and lifetime treatment of sold product. Very important. Final demolition of until the final demolition of the final demolition or deconstruction of the carbon footprint, the calculation until demolition of building 50 or 100 years. They put a gap there because of different material usage. So these are 12, 3 more. Downstream lease asset, same thing, lease asset to reconstruction. Sorry, just now the example I salah. This one is pre-construction, which means that I go to Johor to look at site first. I stay 1 month. That one is under upstream. Downstream is where you actually own the firm and lease out consumption tenant, residential tower, that including the towers. Franchises, operation under corporate brand, whatever corporate brand, and investment, financial emission of equity, scope 1, external joint venture project. Okay, for example. So more important is every single steps that involve emission of CHG needs to be quantified. You don't need to do that. You just need to know what information to give. Important is the first one. We have received letters from developers saying that they wanted to declare whether you are consultants which sustainability in mind practice and how much emissions that you come to my meeting. Are you using a hybrid car? Are you using a green car? Public transport? How many people come? How far away? Online good. You need to do that so that they can quantify their carbon emission. Okay. This one everybody will pick because you know this very well. So you know how to calculate. Later I'll tell you how to report it. So after you know how to calculate, we need to know how to reduce. Just like your EEC act, your OTTV, you need to reduce, your BI need to reduce. Decarbonisation strategy, more or less the same thing. First, refuse and reduce. Okay? Don't build. Don't build, nothing happen. Chaplap, developer, simple. No business, no architect, no green consultant, nothing. No carbon emission, balik kampung. But we can't. So we have to balance. Reduce as much as little as possible. You need a 5,000 square feet house, don't build a 20,000, for example. Okay. Energy efficiency, the first thing about energy efficiency, renewable energy, and then offset. Usually these three are the basic: energy efficiency, RE, and offset. But the first one is actually equally important: how to refuse and reduce. These slides come from Arup, not from us. I find it very clean and very informative and very good. So I just adopt it and put a disclaimer: it's not from us. Okay. Embodied energy, light green. Operation energy, dark green. First thing to do is EE, energy. Assuming this is the most reduction you can build already. So the first one clear. Reduce the energy efficiency through passive, active operation and on-site renewables. Okay. Passive, everybody knows lah. I'll go through very fast, don't worry. Active, everybody knows. Operation. Actually, the most important is operation. You design and put a rainwater housing. You design to give recycle bins. The operation, don't throw the recyclable in the bins. The rainwater housing tank, the cutter stuck already, water not going in, overflow. Operation no use, the whole thing no use. Okay. And the design process is only 3 years construction. The operation is 50 to 100 years. So we are talking about the operation emission is a lot more compared to construction. So operation is actually a lot more. Of course, RE, renewable energy, on site, which means that on your roof. Grid decarbonisation, this is called the off-site RE, renewable energy. So first you need to do EE, then you offset to the max from outside. Then you do the embodied. Embodied is how to transform and reuse. I'll go through it. Build less, build efficiency, minimize waste, and at the end, you want net zero by 2050, assuming nothing happened in 2030, the Titans didn't make up, the remaining you offset. We're going to go through this process so that the declaring scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 is the developer job, not your job. Your job is how to design a building and how to give the information to them so that they comply the ESA Act and reduce their carbon. From the carbon, they can put it into your sustainable report. So this is our job. Okay. A, passive, nothing lah, very fast. Orientation tau lah. Facade design, OTTV tau lah. Daylight tau lah. Natural ventilation tau lah. So as much natural ventilation as possible, control natural ventilation, as much mixed mood as possible to put down the electricity. I won't go through in detail. Thermal insulation and strategic landscaping, biophilic, where they emits O2 and absorb CO2. Okay, the more the merrier lah. Okay, you can calculate lah. You can calculate. Active lighting, tau lah. Lighting control sensor, tau lah. I won't go through this. Electric power motor with drive, submetering, the AC design with zoning, very important. Indoor design country, you have to control the bulb temperature, RH and air movement. The AC system, what are the system used? MEE knows, it's on all green building lah. The parameters are shown here. Not going to repeat, is MS. MV system, the MV system need to be timer so that there's control of CO and CO2. EMS, which is a mandatory requirement for your EECA Act. Okay, one of the things that you need to track your energy is your EMS. And of course, your rainwater housing system, gravity kalau boleh to reduce pump load lah. So these are the active which you guys should know already. C, operation, very important. You must have a maintenance plan and team. In your green building also mentioned that. Because as I mentioned, if you don't use it, then koyak lah. Maintenance, landscaping, conserve, EMS, the Energy Management Committee. This is important to have a policy of how to do energy audit and emission reduction report. Energy audit is your ECA Act. Emission reduction report is your sustainable report that your developer want. So these two are part of the Energy Management Committee that need to do. Survey, nothing, and recommissioning, very important. Every time the building changes, renovation, different owner, different tenant changes. So we need to recommission, suit to purpose. A lot of people don't do that. So I have to do that. On-site renewable energy, tau lah. Usually on-site is solar energy, which now have thin film, PIPV. Of course, we talk about also wind energy and biomass. Examples, these are thin film. I couldn't find any thin film photos in Malaysia. Kalau ada, please share. I really cannot find, except the TMB photo. The TMB, some straight, right? Some actually curved. So thin film, the good thing is, people said very ugly, right? You can actually cut the PV, you see, and you can actually, in any shapes. The thin film is only this thin. Can bend one, and the efficiency is a lot more higher. The cost also a lot more higher. Okay, but you have the options. Wind, this product is called Ariva. Oh, finishing, is it? Oh, I can finish now. Oh, okay. Can go now already. Ariva, this is In Japan, this is a product, wind, okay, very minor wind, this thing can turn and can get energy. This building is called Solar Leaf, is in Hamburg. Biomass. They're actually using algae to generate electricity. All these are all algae in a container. So biomass, wind, thin film. Done. Actual building. Of course, in different country. So not only solar PV, we can actually do a lot more. I extracted this from our roadmap. The PV roadmap, we need to achieve how many by 2050? Whole country, yeah. So this is their strategy, you know. They not say PV only, you know. So they're expecting a lot more innovation to come to equip our construction industry 40% reduction. So these are some of the examples. Grid decarbonisation, solar farm. One question: can plant go below solar farm or not? People say solar farm no good because it kills whatever below, and if you put float on the water, it will kill all the fish and etc. etc. This is in Singapore. I kudos them, especially the NPark, that one that jagas the landscape of Singapore. Really kudos. They have research plants that can grow below PVs. And I went up there and was like, huh? I don't know lah. I'm an architect. ask landscape architect. No. Transclusive one which MGTC is using. MGTC is using. So these are basically gaps where we can actually lights can go through So solar farm, things can actually grow below. It can What are the GHG emits from photovoltaic panel? Everything emits GHG, right? When we burn, right? This one, when we burn something, we get energy, we emit CO2, right? Or equivalent. So we said from fossil fuel, we go to clean energy. So photovoltaic, wind, biomass, what are their GHG, and what is the percentage compared to 1 ton of carbon? So no answer. Again, when we emission, just now we talk about emission, right? When you burn fossil fuel, you get energy, you emit CO2 or equivalent. Our national roadmap says that we want to get away from burning fuel to clean energy so that it will reduce the GHG emissions. My question now is, all the solar photovoltaic, your wind, your biomass, produce energy also to us, right? When they produce, what are the GHG released and what is the ratio GWP compared to 1 ton of CO2? Two questions asked. What is the emission and what compared to? So it's a trick question. It's called clean energy. So the answer is 0. The process of material is under scope 3. The produce of energy, we're talking about the produce of energy, not the material. The material is under scope 3. So if you buy the product and that is your asset, you declare as that. But the question that I asked is the energy that produced from this, there's no emission. The emissions come from the material. Okay? So that's why it's converting the fossil fuel to clean energy. So now you see the whole picture. Everything ties back to one. That's why I say answer later. Clean energy, no GHG emits from the energy produced, not the material. Okay? That is why it's called clean energy. Okay? Okay. Last one, transform. This is embodied. So this one is energy. Embodied, you have transform. Build less style lah. Build efficiency, IBS lah. You know lah, efficiently build lah. Minimize waste, you know lah, no need to explain lah. What is transform and reuse? Reuse material, we know lah. Transform is basically used material, transform from a business as usual to a green material. Transform. That is how Arup calls it lah. No problem. It's just terminology. So transform to use green material. Green building, there is certificate. Correct? Green material got certificate not? Everybody can declare. Can, right? Okay. When they declare it's a green material, what information be required? The information be required is GHG of the material produced. You goes to Serim Green, not all tests has that. So you have to be very specific. Okay? I want to be a green building. You have to be very specific. Go to certain organization to get a cert. So that to confirm that you are green building. To be a green material in the context of carbon, you must go and test and confirm what is the GHG emits per product. Very important. Okay, brick is a brick lah, glass a glass lah, door is a door lah, per product. You have a ceiling board, 7M, one product, 9M, one product, 12M, one product. Okay, you can lump it together, provided the process is the same, provided you can demonstrate, you can prove it. Okay, if not, they will consider one product. So chalat, right? One building calculate how many times? Quite chalat lah. Okay. EBDs, I touched on this last year. EBDs is a product declaration, verified transparent document, qualified the carbon footprint, which we all about talking about, not GHG. Yeah? Carbon footprint, we talk about the total emission of the product from upstream, scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, upstream and downstream of the product. It's called total carbon footprint, not GHG. Of the product of its life cycle from raw material extraction until use. EPD hubs is the evaluation body, one of the evaluation body, not only one of the evaluation body, and LCN Click is the software that can help you to do that. We are the certified of this, and we have used this as well. So we can actually provide this service. That's why I said we took 1 year lah. This is from us. This is IGM. The calculation, concrete is 59% emission. Steel 16, cement 9, bricks and metal the rest lah. Ini tiga 60, 75, 85. 85% of 80 lah, agak-agak lah. 80% of the embodied energy of the building come from these three. Carbon tax, I touch on that, not gazetted yet. The first two they target, okay, energy aside, is cement and steel. These two add up 75% already. So they target these two first, so that the majority of the material can reduce. So, you know, in GPI calculation and green eye calculation, there's one called CUI, Concrete Usage Index, for this purpose. A lot of people ask, what for? Once you know that figure, you know how they quantify, you have to work backwards, you know exactly how much embodied carbon of your building from the CUI. Not just a number. It means something. Okay? So these are the, once it's gazetted, these are the few that the government targets to, it's not overall, just like GST, certain target group first. Okay, so same thing. These are the target groups. Offset, last one. After you do all the operation, after you do all the green material, everything done already, still haven't reached net zero, then you offset, no? You buy carbon from other places that sell carbon, no? Which personally I do not agree. Say so angry, I do not agree. You buy from a jungle in Kalimantan, the jungle has been there before dinosaur. Correct or not? What to buy? They have been absorbing O2, releasing O2 and absorbing CO2 before even dinosaur so born. So what to buy? What to own? You should decarbonize from the first three, not buying. Anyway, this is personal opinion. Very angry. But you need to do, Lo. If they need to come Z0 and still cannot, then you buy. Lo. So carbon offset is what we call, the word is called offset, not buying carbon. It's called carbon offset, all this jargon. Voluntary carbon market allows carbon emitters to offset emission by purchasing carbon emits per project target and removing greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. Carbon gases to the atmosphere, everything tied back now. Carbon certified carbon auditor professional, our company is one of the few people in the country that has this, not many, less than 12, I think. Carbon certified carbon auditor. And of course, we also in partnership with Carbon Auditing Finance, how to tie carbon with finance, selling and buying. There are two bodies that are, in general, more prominent, Vera and Gold Standards. No need to go through that. This is the process and it's live. I want to show you this. About do this old man do this. Okay. United Nations carbon offset platform. You can offset from United Nations. This United Nations, they have read through. Betul ke, tak betul ke, ada cert ke, siapa verified. They have done all these things. And you can buy lah. Oceanic, no one sell. These are Asia, 140 project. Click that. In Fujian, okay, they are selling available 984 tons from hydro, and they're selling 40 cents per ton. For example, so you can slow down lah. You buy lah. Click buy lah. Buy lah. Go buy. Buy. Like wonton mee, buy. Finishing. I know it's 12:30 already. Finishing. A few more slides. My flight is at 3 leh. So this is the link is over there lah. Everything is provided. Don't worry. It's for the industry lah. Sustainable report, last one already, very fast. So we need to declare, correct? You cannot just after do all these things, you know the scope 1, scope 2, you know how to calculate, you know how to reduce decarbonisation, everything done. Finally, you need to submit the report, right? Self-declare or someone have to check? Self-declare for now. Sustainable report, an organization report that give information about economic, environmental, social, and governance. See, sounds very... ESG is a subset of this report. ESG is what you do in the report. E is whatever I just mentioned now for the last 2 hours. S is S, G is G lah, you know lah. Not talking about that. Concentration on E. But in the report, you talk about ESG. Okay? These two flowery English, anybody can do. The E only specific people, technical people can do. Increase transparency, nothing lah. Sharing information, nothing lah. Read by shareholder, employees, nothing lah. What in the report? Board statement. The first page usually board statement, right? We declare what you want to do. Board statement lah. Sustainable report framework. What is the framework that you are doing the next 30 years, the next 50 years? Policies that meets the framework. What is your practice and what's your current performance? The ESG factor, what you should report this year. Climate related disclosure, the disclosure of whatever that climate related GHG emissions, and what's your target the next year. In general, it's a report lah. This is very important. Mandatory disclosure. You declare, right? Mandatory, the word is here. For group 1, main market listed issuer, main board lah, more than 2B. IGM, more than 2B lah. Correct, right? Scope 1, mandatory disclose since 2025. Need to declare. Mandatory or no more. Apa ni? 12:30 already, right? I know. Finishing. Mandatory since 2025. Scope 3, permit to postpone for 2 years. 2027, January next year need to start already. By end of 2027, need to declare scope 3. Jalat loh. Betul tak? External insurance, what's that? In accounting term, it's called external auditor. Someone need to sign your report. Not shock sendiri declare anymore. Next year. As close as next year. Your sustainable report no longer self-declare. Now it's self-declare. Next year onwards, someone need to, saya mengakui lah bahawa carbon yang ditunjuk dalam report ini adalah sah dan diakui, whatever lah. Nunjuk. So the report no more cincin-cai-cai, self-declare, I go to the beach to clean 2 tons, no more. Everything need to be quantified. Auditor. Other main market listed, not in board, not in the tier 1 listed board, tier 2. Next, this year started already, which means that everybody in the Bursa need to do already this year. Not only construction industry, every industry. Construction is on the earth. Scope 3 by next year, auditor by next year. 2 years later. This one can jump. Group 3, ACE market of issuer and non-listed, any company with the annual of 2B. Not many lah. Got lah. Yeah, got. Here, got, don't need to come here already. Go to bank only, count him. I got lah. Indonesia rupiah got lah. 2B. Okay. Mandatory reporting by next year. Permit 2 years by scope 3 by 230. External insurance by this. Very important. The topic of today is how to help corporate developers because they are already here. Correct? Developers could be here if you are not in the tier 1. But if they are 2B and not even listed as Sendirian Berhad, which I think got lah. Here got 3 big tycoons, right? 3 big developers. They may be kena here. May mandatory reporting next year onwards. So if they kena, they need to know what is your GHG. You bring this slide, you tell them what is GHG, what is what. Scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, what I can help you in decarbonisation because of this. Okay, finishing. As mentioned, external auditor is the external auditor. We are the qualified external auditor. These are the reporting standards. Okay, not chin chai chai. They must have a standard when you report. Okay, GRI, TCFD, IFRC, IFRS. These are the standards that you use. These are frameworks. These are standard. Standard ISO standard for sustainability. ISO has framework GPI. Okay, both are standards and framework. The most important is whatever you do, there's an auditor who signs, the person do signs, that two-person signs, then you're clear. The accountant and the auditor. Itu saja. Example of what we need to declare lah. Example of what we need to declare. And itu saja. Oh, ngam ngam ho. Thank you, thank you. Hope hope you're not drowned. Any Q&A? It's very deep for 2 hours, but hope you're really not drowned lah. You need to go through that lah. Another 2 hours, I miss my flight. Two B. My fees are 2B rupiah. Okay, sorry. You Google Michael Ching. Of course, plenty of Michael Ching comes out. But Michael Ching Ji Hong, there's only one. はい。No lah, no lah, no. Alvino ah. 嗯 cannot. The OTTV in Malaysia got one fraud. I always say fraud lah. Limitation. Not fraud. Sorry. Sorry. Limitation. Because it's overall. I give you an example. If you have two side full wall, two side full glass, okay, the two glass face east west, the two wall face north south, correct? Jalat. But overall, it may pass because 50% of your wall plus your beam and column could be 60% because of beam. 60% is actually wall. And your glass 40%, if you tinted a bit, then count them already. But if you stand on the east one, your OTTV, sure, 60 something could be 70. So if to reduce the limitation, you have to do a micro OTTV calculation, zone to that particular floor, that particular area. A lot of work to be done, but the limitation is now overall, so everything is overall. But if you really, really want to know your room, then you have to call a micro OTTV. So the 50 Celsius currently also tak cukup because of the. So if you're equally distributed a glass tower 4 sides, if your OTTV is 50, then comply because all 4 sides correct. The heat cannot learn. The current one also cannot comply already. Not cannot comply. The current one is how you design also cannot comply already. No lah. It's just a guide lah. 50 is just a guide lah. Yellow lights, you can stop or you can go. It depends on you lah. So it's a guide. There's nothing prevent you from hitting 25 or 35. It's just a guide. My house is 30 something, I think. Yeah. So you can actually push it down. My roof U value is 0.15. And remember? Yeah. So you can do that. It's how much you want to push it down only. Yeah. Ah. Ah. Oh yeah. Mm. Yeah. Yeah lah. It's daylight versus ventilation versus heat versus view combined. So it's a kung fu lah. It's a kung fu that you need to tai chi around to see which is best for the design. Lor. No right, no wrong. No, no, not here, no time. Next time. That's me. Uh, if see whether win or not lah. Hmm. Anything? Okay, itu saja. Thank you. I'll come back next year, July, June for durian again. If I'm invited again. June is the best time to come. It's a durian season. June is the best time to come.
So we'd like to invite Architect B to give our token of appreciation from PAM Northern Chapter.